Alright, 1, 2, 3.
Spending $3,000 to rent a yacht for a day just for fishing. At first, it made people doubt whether it was worth the cost, but the outcome completely amazed me. The first man to take the rod was very confident, bragging about making fish soup later that night while reeling in. But the next moment, a big fish below was clearly unhappy, leaping out of the water several meters. The fishing rod, which was already bent like a bow, suddenly bent even more. The man in black, who had just been helping him adjust the reel, watched in shock as the fish line snapped under the immense tension. What kind of monster was down there? Seeing his companion's expression filled with doubt, the man in red decided to take revenge for him. Fortunately, the giant creature was not far away, and after casting the rod again, it quickly bit the hook. This time, the fish didn't jump around, so the rod remained upright at first. But just as the man in red relaxed his guard, the rod suddenly bent down hard. The sudden force almost made him curse as he clamped the rod between his legs and used both hands to reel it in. As I watched him, my heart sank. He actually sat on the edge of the boat, with no railing for protection. Any misstep could send him overboard to feed the fish, especially since the fish was desperately trying to pull him down, charging toward the depths. The rod was bending further into the water. At this rate, the man in red might lose both himself and the rod. Meanwhile, his companion was fanning the flames of his frustration, making him so angry he felt like his teeth would shatter. Using all his strength, he desperately tried to reel it in, but the more he pulled back, the heavier the rod felt. Seeing the man in red struggling, the man who had regained his strength took back the rod, ready to settle his own score. These guys were really reckless, each sitting on the edge of the boat. The big fish had been fighting against them for half an hour already. One person couldn't handle the onslaught of their combined efforts as soon ran out of stamina. Seeing the big fish struggling for its life, the calm man demonstrated his usual level of skill, pulling and releasing in a steady, powerful manner, chatting casually, while he expertly led the fish around in circles. As ripples spread out, the big fish gradually surfaced, exciting them to the point of dancing. It turned out to be a massive Warsaw grouper, one of the rare deep-sea groupers. Many anglers go their whole lives without the luck to catch one, but the way these men treated it was rather rough. Each took a big hook and worked together to lift it up. After admiring their catch, they faced an awkward problem. This fish weighed at least 150 kilograms. How on earth were they going to bring it aboard? They tried several times as a team but failed. The fish was on the line but too heavy to pull up. It was hilariously frustrating, making the man in red jump onto the boat's edge. With everyone putting in every ounce of strength, they finally tracked the massive grouper aboard. In that moment, they erupted with deafening cheers, completely overjoyed. Not only had they covered their costs, but they had also made a profit. The fishing world is full of those who are foolish and have money to spare. Next, this man became even more reckless. After finally catching a stingray, he immediately cut it in half to use as bait. What on earth was he trying to catch that was worth such an investment? Soon, the cut-up stingray was tossed into the sea. The current under the bridge was too strong and quickly swallowed the hook. However, the stronger the wind and waves, the more valuable the fish. The fish here were equally active, and within 2 minutes, one bit the hook. But the terrifying pull sent the man reeling. They say it takes 10 pounds of force to catch a pound of fish. Now he felt like there was 1,000 pounds on the other end of the line. What kind of monster was this? If it weren't for the railing, he might have easily fallen overboard, forced to brace the rod against the railing for leverage. He still couldn't stop the rod from bending toward the sea. While others were holding their rods to fish, he was practically standing up with his. He was the first to hold the rod so awkwardly, but soon something even more awkward happened. Just when he finally gathered enough strength to lift the rod, preparing to reel in quickly while the fish was distracted, the line suddenly snapped. This was incredibly embarrassing for him. When he pulled it up, he was horrified to see the reinforced line looked as if a dog had chewed on it, and he'd lost that nice stingray as well. But who would have thought that he was foolish and had plenty of money? After a while, he pulled out another huge hook, and in front of him was a full box of stingrays. This time he picked a bigger one to attach to the hook and started his second attempt. The bite came quickly again, but it ended even faster. This giant was even more ferocious than the last one. The man's rod hardly ever stood straight, with the back end under his arm and the front braced against the railing. It felt less like fishing and more like shooting, and the only time he managed to lift the rod was when the line snapped again. This ended the second fishing attempt. Fueled by anger, the man decided to take it on head-to-head. The previous failures had made him wiser. As soon as the big fish bit, he threw himself into reeling it in, pulling back and forth like a tug-of-war, refusing to give the creature any chance to breathe, and ripples began to rise around them, signaling that victory was close. Sure enough, Within a few seconds, it revealed itself. It was a valuable grouper. No wonder it was so fierce. This species was known to be able to swallow sharks. The man didn't dare let his guard down and, along with his companions, use a net to scoop it up, satisfying their eyes with a good look. But just when I thought they would figure out how to cook the fish, they surprised me with an unexpected move. They released it back into the sea intact. Of course, it wasn't out of compassion. This species is a protected animal, and messing with it could lead to jail time. Although they didn't get to eat it, catching it still brought them great satisfaction. They ended their day of deep-sea fishing contentedly. Follow me to discover a new world every day.